4 Cleveland quarterbacks in action. We wouldn't show Snoop Huntley, but we'll show the other 3, including that guy. Sorry. 9 for 10 on the night, 71 yards and a tutty. He's going to make way for Dylan Gabriel up next. 2-minute situation before the half. Gabriel to Gage Larvadan. Coolest name in the game with the first down. So he'd make way for Shedeur Sanders. Playing in Cleveland for the first time as a quarterback for the Browns. Fans like, ooh, we're so excited, yay. Post-game, check out this question.
I feel like you belong here on this team.
Obviously. I think overall as a player, I feel like I put in the work. I feel like everything I do, I try to do it to my best, and that's all I ask for. So I feel like everybody feels like, they should be on the team. And if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong, in their own eyes. So I feel like I do, but I'm my own player. I think about myself in a high regard, of course. So it's not my decision.
We welcome in Herm Edwards to break it all down. Okay, so Herm got a crowded quarterback room over there in Cleveland. You got Joe Flacco as the Week 1 starter. Now with the preseason wrapped, how should their quarterback depth chart shake out?
Well, Joe Flacco is the starter. We know that right away. I mean, his experience, they're going to try to get off to a fast start with Joe Flacco. And if you watch him in the preseason, it looks like Joe Flacco. Look, he's played a lot of football. He gets the ball out of his hand very quickly. You can see it right now. He's very accurate. But the thing I worry about with Joe Flacco is this. He can't move anymore. He's 40 years old. That could be a problem. Preseason games he's played in, he's been accurate. He scans the field. He gets rid of the ball very quickly. Shedeur all of a sudden has become a quarterback that's trying to make the big play and is hanging on to the ball too long. He took some bad sacks in this game, and all of a sudden, 2 weeks in a row now, he looks like a quarterback that doesn't know where to go with the ball.
Yeah, that was part of the knock on him in Colorado. He tried to do too much and hang on to the ball too long, and he was showing that in the last preseason game. All right, so Flacco's the starter for Week 1. Herm, hang tight. Help us break down another quarterback situation over there in New Orleans.
It was the final call for someone to separate themselves in the ground. That drive would also lead to a field goal. In 3 drives, Rattler goes 5 of 8, 43 yards. It would then be Tyler Shuck's turn. Third quarter is where it's up the first down. See it on the replay, escaping the pressure, having the presence of mind to find his outlet, makes the 12-play drive. He finishes 5 drives in an impressive way. Final score, just a footnote. That is because Herm Edwards is back with us to discuss that Saints squad. Quite the conundrum that new head coach Kellen Moore finds himself in. Trying to decide between second-round pick Tyler Shuck and a second-year signal caller in Spencer Rattler, who started 6 games for the Saints last year. What are we to make of this entire quarterback situation, given that both of these cats have received substantial reps in the preseason?
Well, I think Kellen Moore, obviously, he played quarterback in the National Football League, but he also coached some good quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Prescott, Herbert. So, he has that to look at. Now he has 2 young quarterbacks, one that has been there and one that they drafted. And I think when you look at the preseason right now, Coach Kellen Moore, who does he feel comfortable with? And I think this could be week to week, according to how the quarterback's going to see South. It'll be interesting to see who he starts, and does that guy start for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it may not hold for all that long because, to your point, you might as well ride the hot hand given how the preseason totals of completion percentage, sacks, touchdowns, all of those things are pretty much even between these two. So we'll see if that tough decision shakes out to be one that's permanent. Appreciated as always, Coach.
How about them Cowboys? Brian Schottenheimer says he's going to meet with Micah Parsons about this, appearing to be sleeping on the medical table during the Falcons game Friday. Parsons, of course, has been beefing with Jerry Jones over contract negotiations, hasn't played this preseason. Today on Twitter, Parsons voiced approval for a post stating he was only on the table briefly, adding, "I'd never disrespect."
Last look at their quarterbacks before the regular season. Joe Flacco was already named starter and looked good in his tune-up, completing 9 of 10. Dylan Gabriel impresses well, throwing for 129 yards and a tub, but Shedeur Sanders struggled, completing just 3 passes and taking 5 sacks, so a lot going on. Let's see if Daniel Oyefusi can help us sort it all out.
The Browns put a bow on the preseason on Saturday, and now all attention turns to Tuesday's roster cutdown deadline. During the game, GM Andrew Berry said that keeping all 4 quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders, is, quote, not much of a decision for us. The Browns have already named Flacco the starter for Week 1, but when asked about naming a backup, Coach Kevin Stefanski said he's just not there yet. Pickett would give the team an experienced number 2, but owner Jimmy Haslam has already said it's important to evaluate Gabriel and Sanders ahead of the 2026 draft, when the Browns have 2 first-round picks. For now, the Browns will move forward with their present in Flacco, while their potential future waits in the background. From Cleveland, Daniel Oyefusi, ESPN.
So while Shedeur is busy fighting for a roster spot, Shiloh's evidently just fighting. The Tampa Bay safety got ejected from their preseason tilt against the Bills Saturday after a little skirmish in the second quarter. Buffalo tight end Zach Davidson. There's the punch, and there's the flag. That wound up being a subsequent ejection after.
Everybody feels like, they should be on the team. And if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong, in their own eyes. So I feel like I do, but I'm my own player. I think about myself in a high regard, of course. So it's not my decision. Yeah, I didn't know I was out. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. I was on the bike. I was powering up. I was powering up for that 2-minute drive because, that's just a situation every quarterback dreams for. That's many situations I've been in before, and I thought I was in. So then he told me I wasn't in, and I was like, oh.
Sanders, of course, disappointed to be pulled from the game before that final 2-minute drive. As we take a look at some of the notable performers, the quarterbacks in the Browns quarterback room. Joe Flacco, the starter, 9 of 10, 71 yards, a touchdown. Dillon Gabriel, gripping and ripping it, 129 yards and a touchdown. Shedeur Sanders, under pressure, 5 sacks, finished 3 of 6 for 14 yards on the day. Back here with CBS Sports NFL analyst Emory Hunt. Emory, let's just say this wasn't the best performance we've seen from Shedeur Sanders. It wasn't what he was hoping for. He was sacked not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4. It was 5 times, 5 sacks. That's a lot of time on the ground for the young quarterback. He completed just 3 of 6 passes, 14 yards, before being notably replaced by Tyler Huntley on the final drive of the game. This created a lot of post-game headlines. So what do you make, Emory, of that decision by Kevin Stefanski, who said not to read anything into it?
A lot of times with these coaches and coaches like Kevin Stefanski, it's ego over execution, it's plays over players. At the end of the day, you got to give this kid a shot to redeem himself. That's the beauty of being a rookie. You're going to go out there, you're going to struggle, you're going to have some success, you're going to struggle again, but you want to see them come out on the other side. Now, Shedeur had 5 sacks, 5 drives, just was trying to press, trying to impress coaches, the fans, trying to live up to what Dillon Gabriel just put out there on the field. And Kevin Stefanski handled that situation and this whole quarterback competition horribly because you removed an opportunity for him to redeem himself in that situation to go out as a winner. And again, it's not just we all see it. Players on the team sees it. Players on the opposing teams see it. They know what's going on. They know what's going down, but it's all about Kevin Stefanski's ego. We saw this with Baker Mayfield. Oh, it doesn't fit my system. Well, your system has to be about the players that are in it. And we've seen him do this because the offense was completely different when Dillon Gabriel was out there. It was a lot of, short, quick passes to get the ball out of his hands, spread the formation, which is great. That's what you're supposed to do for a guy that thrives in that situation. So I don't know why for Shedeur, the offense changed. He kind of wanted to curate something around him. But at the end of the day, Shedeur recognized he had to play better. That game looked a lot like that UCLA game his first year in Colorado. But I blame Stefanski for how he's handled this whole situation because it doesn't look very Coach of the Year leadership-like to me.
Well, this is also why it is so important for the coach and the front office to be on the same page with the talent that they bring in, because say one direction doesn't prefer a certain player, they'll say, oh, here's another reason why we shouldn't have gone that way, or here's another reason why we should have gone this way. I am not speaking to Stefanski's views on Shedeur Sanders, but again, looking at, as you mentioned, the different approaches for these quarterbacks here, it is a crowded quarterback room in Cleveland. So does Shedeur make the 53 in your mind?
That question is already, for lack of a better word, dumb, in my opinion, right? Because yes, he's going to make he's the best quarterback in that room. The problem is when you look at how this was set up, right? Because you have Joe Flacco, who's 40+ years old, and people talk about 2023 as if we all didn't watch how that ended in the postseason with fumbles and pick sixes, and we saw what that looked like with the Colts in 2024. Dillon Gabriel was drafted according to where his talent suggested, to be completely honest and fair. 3rd round. Looks like a high-end backup. Looks like Case Keenum out there and how efficient he is with the football. He's a point guard passer. That's great for him. Shedeur was the one that should have gone in the 1st round that went to the 5th round for reasons that doesn't involve football. And so we could dive into a whole diatribe about that. But when you look at what he does well, accuracy, placement, situational football, which he took away from him today in the 2-minute offense. So the fact that, and Kenny Pickett's out there with 15 touchdown passes in 3 seasons, and he was a starter in Pittsburgh. Had he been the guy, he'd still be in Pittsburgh. So I think Shedeur definitely makes the team. It's interesting to see how they will finagle and carry the 4, because there were other players on this Browns roster that outperformed their position and their situation. So you want to create room for those guys. Do you keep 4 quarterbacks because and do you not keep, what, 5 linebackers? So it's going to be interesting to see who gets that phantom injury IR designation to where they can kind of keep all 4 guys in tow.
How can they sneak people through waivers? That's the ultimate question this time of year. Now let's talk about Joe Flacco, QB1. His NFL career is old enough to vote. He's entering season 18 in the National Football League, and he looked as good as you could have hoped for. 9 of 10, 71 yards and a touchdown. So, Emery, do you read anything into this performance in terms of how it's going to translate to the start of the regular season for the Browns?
Now you know what you get from Flacco. He's a seam, bang-aid type passer. The offense is more methodical. It looks slower when he was out there early in the ball game. And you know the umbrella is a little bit limited because of his lack of mobility. So he won't be able to get in and out of certain jams, or won't be able to get in and out of certain plays, which now puts the onus on the offensive line to be excellent more so than not. But anytime you have a seam throw or a bang-aid throw like we saw today, he's going to hit those, and I think that's a great way for him. That's what you know you're going to get. The run game has to be there. We saw that early in the game. We saw him hit the throws that he had to make, but when you go into the regular season and teams dial up pressures, we know Joe Flacco won't be able to get out of that, so that kind of puts a little bit of a cap on the offense.
Right. Now, after Joe Flacco, we saw Dillon Gabriel get some reps. We talked about how Shedeur struggled later in this game, but Dillon Gabriel, the 3rd-round pick, another strong performance. You know, he went 12 of 19, 129 yards and a touchdown. How are you feeling about Gabriel's preseason performance?
Well, at least this time they don't have to squint and say he played well. It was obvious that he played well in this one. He didn't have turnovers and fumbles, right? So what I like about Dillon Gabriel, he's a quick game assassin. Speed outs, flat routes. If it's there, he's going to take it. Now, he may pass up a big chunk play deeper down the field for a stop route right in front of him, but at least the offense is still moving. It gets out of his hands quickly. He's going to pepper you with targets. It's no surprise he can go 40 for 40 for 40 yards, because he's going to hit the targets, right? So, but then you also look at how he's able to distribute. It was shocking watching this game. Maybe this was just because it was a preseason, but watching how the Rams just kind of allowed him to hit those sort of quick outs and speed outs the entire length of the field for that impeccable 90-plus yard drive, touchdown drive. So I thought this was the best game he played out of the 2 preseason games, but you know what type of passer he is. He's a point guard passer, quick, efficient, ball comes out and gets where it needs to be.
Hey, listen, the important thing is to put quarterback in a position to succeed and see how they execute. Right? Keep it simple. Silly. Listen, 3rd preseason game was the last shot at the dress rehearsal, let's say, but let's take a look at the entirety of all 3 preseason games from these Browns quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Huntley. Pickett didn't even make the graphic.
Oh, okay.
Right? Pickett didn't even make the graphic out here. Joe Flacco.